Whew. Gina, again, we keep it moving with you because there's so much that you have done. Just because you mentioned presidents, I want us to start with I don't even know which. Let's start at home. On one end, I've seen Raila come to your office. On the other end, I've seen you with President Uhuru. I've seen you. Just talk about that.
So for me, I think there's a huge advantage when you don't belong to a tribe. I really do. I think it's a huge advantage because especially in a country where names automatically put you in a box.
Gina Din doesn't really put you in any box.
In any box. Nobody in the world knows where the hell I'm from. And so I think there's a level where I feel more Kenyan than you because I don't belong to any tribe, So I think there's that advantage of actually, and I really feel very strongly, where names profile you. I mean, even now I'll come through the airport and they'll look at my passport and they'll say Kariuki. And I'm looking at them like, it's very irritating because they've automatically profiled you.
Yep.
That how can you be a Kariuki? So I think there's, I think the fact that I actually don't. I mean, I don't really use the Kariuki name that much. It's on my official documents, but there's a sense in which I'm just Kenyan. So there's a level of where I'm friends with people. I don't really care what tribe they're from, and I have friends, like you've said, from right across the political divide, and they're my friends. They're not. It's not transactional. It's not something I've done for them. Then that's it. We're buddies. Yep. Raila's my good friend. Uhuru is my very good friend. Uhuru and I are born the same year. We're both left-handed the same month. We're both going to be 60 this year. But they're my friends.
When did you first interact? Let's start with Uhuru.
Oh, a long time ago. I mean, early in my Barclays days.
Oh, okay. So
and then our kids
you've
went
known
to school.
You've known him.
He's my friend.
Okay, I get it. It's. I really like having this conversation. It's not everybody who just says, Uhuru is my friend, or everybody who says...
Yeah, he's my friend. I mean, I consider him a friend.
Yeah. When I saw Raila literally come into your office, like Gina and Raila literally are pals.
Yeah, no, he's just my friend. I really like him. I think I just think Kenya wouldn't have achieved this democratic space that we have.
I get it.
If it wasn't for the Odinga family.
True.
And I respect that. I mean, he's suffered a lot for this country. He really has. Him and his family have suffered a great deal.
Because you've brought up the issue of tribe, we cannot not talk about the 2007 post-election violence. So I want to hear it from your perspective and the role also that you played.
So, 2007 happens. We go and vote and come back, and by the 30th of December, all shit has hit the fan.
True.
Literally, there's just, awful atrocities that I never thought we would ever see in this country. And of course, I'm handling a number of clients at that time. Supply chains are interrupted. Buildings, there's concern about...
The full crisis.
The full crisis that you talk about. Yeah. That, okay, remember that crisis communications plan?
I think it's time.
It's time. So there's a lot going on. My phone is is ringing off the hook. But then Michael and I are like, this is crazy. Like, we need to meet. And of course, there's curfews. You can't go to places. So it's Michael Joseph, Githamwe guy, who wasn't Attorney General, was just a lawyer at that time, and Frank Jenga and I meet, and we're like, this can't continue. Like, something has to break, And so we then of course Kofi Annan is chosen to come and mediate, and Michael says we need to galvanize the private sector to come and let them know the cost of the economy should this impasse continue. And you look at it. And you look at tribalism, even at very high levels. That's the crazy thing, is that, very intelligent, educated people are still like, But anyway, we work closely with KEPSA, and we managed to get the CEOs into a forum, and we were very hopeful that Kofi Annan would be able to receive the memorandum that came at the end of this forum. And he was very kind and very generous, the consummate diplomat. But also with a decisiveness and a firmness that could see in his eye on the way things needed to go. And then I saw him many times after that, but a wonderful, wonderful man, and the world is poorer without him. But he was definitely a real interesting. I mean, if we thought we were, if Kenyans thought they were playing checkers, he was playing chess. That kind of guy. Like he had seen this before. Yeah, he had a lot of experience. So we worked very closely to galvanize the CEOs and the private sector.
When it comes to crisis management, was this like the epitome of the peak that you were handling, or has it gotten worse?
I think it was, we've seen it. I mean, that was the worst, I think, that we've seen. It was interesting for me because that January of 2008, my daughter Natalia was having to sit her maths A-level. And the examination board cancelled it because Kenya wasn't safe. And so I'm stuck. I've got this daughter who's like devastated that she can't do her exam. And I call a friend of mine in London and he says, well, let me talk to my son's school and let's see what we can do. And so the son's school was a school that had been built in the 1500s that never had a girl do an exam there. And they said, yeah, just come, she can sit her exam here. So we flew to London and she did her maths exam. And like just as she was about to end, I see this TV crew come in. And there are these guys saying, we're looking for Gina Din-Kariuki. And I'm just like, yeah, that's my daughter. And they're like, she's come from the conflict area of Kenya. And I'm just like, oh my God, is that where we've reached? It hit me in the pit of my stomach. I'm like, wow. And she's the first girl ever to do her, to sit an exam here, but she's because of the conflict going on in Kenya. And I'm just like, it was sad. But that's exactly what the international community was seeing, because it was that, you could hear gunshots from here. So I think that's the worst that we've seen. Hopefully, we don't ever see that again.
Yeah. Hey, Gina, you've handled a lot. You've definitely handled a lot. Let me move into a different sector. I mean, the entertainment sector. Let's talk about people like MJ, aka Michael Jordan.
I love him.
And also Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yes.
Just how do you begin working with these people, and how do you connect?
So Michael Jordan's mum came to Kenya probably 20 years ago and fell in love with Kenya. She came on a safari and she decided that she was going to build a hospital. And I was introduced to her by Moody Awori. And her and I became just really good friends. I sat on her advisory board, and Nathan, and she is such a darling. Nathan was only little, and he said, I want Mrs. Jordan to come speak at assembly. And so she dutifully came to Kenton and spoke at the school at the assembly. And she always loved Nathan.
So he had that sports love already from that time.
Oh, Nathan had sports love for a long, long time. And of course, MJ is like his role model. Like who wouldn't, So when we went to the States, I said to her, Nathan really wants to meet MJ. And she's like, of course. And we had the best time with him. He was so generous with Nathan. He was such a wonderful, wonderful person. But they're a wonderful family.
Yep.
And she's wonderful. And her hospital is about to be ready. It's been a long journey.
So is that the core reason why is that now what started happening?
Yes, she's here a lot. And hopefully her hospital will be ready this year. But just from looking at her as a mother who has been a mother to this incredibly successful person, and the bond that they have, it's wonderful to watch.
Okay. I've got to ask this question because I want people to get an understanding of what PR is. The first time I met you told me, Richard, PR is not spinning stories, because I was just like, we can spin this. And I remember even on your in your office, you've got this thing that says, I am not a guru.
Yeah, I'm not a spin doctor, I'm an authority.
Yes, and the first thing I was like, you're the guru in the sector. You're like, just look at that sign right there. I was like, I'm doing a pitch and I'm dropping all the wrong things. So what's PR? I'm thinking of all the young people coming up who may be hearing your stories, and I don't want them to get excited about meeting all these famous people and things, but about the work that it is that you actually do.
Yeah, I think it's really creating. It's literally creating a relationship between your client and the public. And ensuring that that's a two-way communication where your clients are able to also receive feedback from the public. I think there's a lot of people getting into PR for the wrong reasons. I think there's a lot of glamour attached to what is really a very unglamorous life. People only see the final tapestry.
The Instagram pic.
Yeah, and the final product. They don't see the knots behind. And there's a lot of that. There's a lot of, it's a lot of very long, if you want to do it properly, that is. There are a lot of people who don't care. They just want to do the Instagram story. And that's fine. I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. I wasn't that person. I was very much for wanting, there's a very dark side of that life as well. Very long hours, getting very emotionally attached to your client, and everything that happens to that client then affects you, because a failure for your client is a failure for me. And so it's I got more thick-skinned as I went along, but initially it was very much that I would see a failure by one of my clients as a personal failure. And it's not all glamorous. I mean, I've been very blessed to have met the number of people that I've met, and I appreciate. I'm grateful for that. But there's a lot of very good work that we've done that has never been talked about. Because it's not the most glamorous. We've done work for the Association of Insurers, for instance. Nobody would talk about it, but it's good work. So I think there's a lot of work that I'm very proud of that's never seen a picture on my wall. Just because it hasn't been glamorous. And I'm very proud of that work. I'm very proud of the day-to-day work that my staff did, where there wasn't going to be an award, but it was just good work. We won a lot of awards.
In fact, I was going to tell you, just to name a few, the PRISC Award for Excellence, that's one. MPR Forum, you won the Stevie Award, that's a big one.
I've won a lot of
CEO Global Awards, African Business Leaders Awards. So, in fact, I want to talk about that because it's clear that now they're seeing you as a leader. And I'm talking about internationally. They're recognizing Gina Din is a leader. And to be honest, you are a leader. There's a lot of people that you have raised up and have gone to be leaders. And you yourself have been a leader. What did that mean to you? Because a few hours ago when we began this conversation, Gina was there saying, I'm scared of starting my own business, I'm scared.
Yeah. I mean, it was great. I think, just learning about the continent was something that brought me much more to the sort of the Pan-African level. And getting called to speak at sort of the sidelines of the UN meetings in New York were wonderful, because then you got to see a much bigger picture.
And when you speak, what kind of conversations are you having? Really
about the fact that Africans need to have a voice, that we need to have our seat at the table, that we, time has come when we shouldn't even be fighting for this. I mean, there's a lot of people on this continent. We need to have that seat, and we're not going to be fighting for it anymore. But also looking at areas where women and children are still disenfranchised in many countries. The UN was, I spoke on the sidelines of the UN for many years. That's where I got to meet Leonardo, when he was talking about climate change. And getting to spend time with him and sit on the same table and and chat through the areas that I wasn't very conversant around was climate change, but he was able to convince me on the importance of that. But I think we can all be leaders if we put our mind to it, because we all have something to add. We all have value. There's something that you can do that I can't. And I'm the sort of person that's very, I'm very keen to collaborate. I love to collaborate. I'm a partnership person. I don't need to own any space. I believe we can all do much better if we collaborate. And that's one of my strengths, is that I always bring people to the party. I always bring teams together, because I can't claim to do everything myself. And I don't want to. I
completely testify on your behalf that you're a collaborator. That's how I ended up meeting you and working with you. Gina, I'll keep saying we can't go through this whole list, but there are some pointers that I know are close to your heart, and I'll definitely have to bring them up because of that. Red Cross.
Yeah, so, as a little girl in Nanyuki, I would, quite often on a Saturday walk around with the tin, the Red Cross tin, and put a little flag on the sticker on people's jackets. So like my mother was very involved in community, and she taught me a lot, you know, that we can be strong as individuals, but we must walk in community. And it's something that I grew up always learning and wanting to do. Obviously, my time at Barclays, where I was able to, you know, to create the social responsibility role for them, then put me into that space. But when the Red Cross asked me to be their Goodwill Ambassador, it was a great honor and a privilege. And through that, then I started to see much more of like the areas around floods, famine, post-election violence, and just got me really keen to lend my voice and advocate for the great work that they do. And so I've spent, you know, a lot of time with the Red Cross. I love the work that they do. I'm so proud of them. Then I did some work with the UN, UNFPA around women and early childhood marriage and FGM, just very important issues, because I really believe that, you know, we can't only live in a commercial world. You know, we have to live in a world where if we can add our voice and if we can impact, then we have to. And I continue to do that. I mean, I'm very keen now on the whole areas around vaccines, and I'll, you know, soon be sort of figuring out what we need to do to make this happen. I mean, no country is safe until everybody is safe, and you know, we can't be in a world where there's vaccine apartheid, which is what's happening now. You know, it's just a fact. And so those are areas I feel strongly about.
I've seen you definitely with Abbas Gulet, and I've seen you with this whole side of your work. And in the beginning, I was like, let me see if she's doing it for PR. But then you just kept doing it and doing it.
And there's a lot that I do that there are no pictures of. Yes. You know, I think that's the thing. It's just, you know, it's something that's part of my DNA now. It's something that I'll continue to do, and that my children know is part of their mother's life. And they're very much like that too. Okay,
I love it. Again, I'll mention. Just actually, hold on. Let's change some batteries. Can have some water, and we'll be back.